struggled mightily as her body rejected the unity theme as though it were transplanted like a monkey heart.
Jon Stewart just took a flamethrower to Laura Loomer, Donald Trump, and even Melania, and the internet is on fire. Loomer, a far-right provocateur banned from more platforms than most people even use, has been getting uncomfortably close to Trump, showing up at campaign events, flying on his private jet, and sparking rumors that sent Trump's team scrambling.
First question crossed my mind was, where the hell is Melania? Because that's a little too close for a pick. I wonder why that is. Cray Cray is upset about even more Cray Cray.
Meanwhile, Melania has gone completely silent, fueling speculation about where she stands in all of this. And just when things couldn't get more absurd, Stewart stepped in with a takedown so brutal it left even Trump's most loyal supporters cringing. So the question is, why is Trump still standing by Loomer when even his own people think she's a disaster waiting to happen? The relationship between Laura Loomer and Donald Trump has been raising quite a few eyebrows, and for good reason. Loomer, a far-right activist with a history of making controversial statements, has been getting unusually close to Trump lately.
But she's reached the former president's elite inner circle, flying to the presidential debate on Trump's plane, and to New York as he observed the anniversary of 9/11.
Her presence at multiple campaign events, her sudden appearances in Trump's inner circle, and even rumors of an affair have turned this into a full-blown internet spectacle. While some see it as just another chapter in the ongoing political circus, others wonder if there's more to the story.
Loomer was also seen getting off Trump's plane in Philadelphia ahead of the debate, and some blame her for putting stories like the immigrants eating pets lie into his head.
Loomer has been seen accompanying Trump to various campaign stops, often appearing by his side at high-profile events. Not only that, but she has reportedly traveled on his private jet, something that only a select few in Trump's close-knit group get to do. The two have been photographed together multiple times, and their interactions seem far more personal than just a casual political acquaintance. For someone who was once considered too extreme even for mainstream conservatives, Loomer's sudden proximity to Trump has caught people's attention. Some have speculated that she's being groomed for a bigger role in Trump's movement, while others believe she's simply leveraging her connection for influence and media attention.
I think maybe Laura Loomer's in an arranged relationship to affect the election because she's very close to Trump. She's 31, looks like his type.
The rumors of a possible affair between Loomer and Trump took off after late-night host Bill Maher cracked a joke about it. In his usual style, Maher made a sarcastic comment that set social media on fire. Almost instantly, people started discussing the possibility, and the internet ran wild with memes, jokes, and speculation. Some critics suggested that Loomer's sudden closeness to Trump wasn't just political, while others dismissed it as baseless gossip. Loomer wasted no time in shutting down the rumors. She called them malicious and defamatory, making it clear that she wanted nothing to do with such speculation. But as with most things in politics, the denial didn't stop people from talking. In fact, it only fueled the conversation further, with some arguing that the louder the denial, the more there might be to the story. The more she pushed back, the more people seemed to believe something was going on.
Laura, how are you? You look so beautiful, as always. You don't want to be Loomered. If you're Loomered, you're in deep trouble.
Trump himself hasn't done much to put the rumors to rest. When asked about Loomer, he brushed off the speculation, calling her a supporter and a free spirit. He didn't outright deny the affair rumors, but he also didn't confirm them, leaving just enough room for people to keep wondering. This kind of response is classic Trump. Instead of shutting things down, he lets the speculation build, knowing that as long as people are talking about him, he's winning in the media game. Jon Stewart saw what was happening with Laura Loomer and Donald Trump, and he did what he does best. He completely ripped into it with his signature mix of comedy and brutal honesty. If there's one thing Stewart excels at, it's cutting through political nonsense and exposing just how ridiculous things really are. And when it comes to Loomer, there's no shortage of material to work with. Stewart wasted no time in bringing up Loomer's long history of controversy. This is someone who has been banned from more platforms than most people even have accounts on. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, she's been kicked off of it. Even food delivery apps decided they didn't want her around, which is a special kind of rejection. Stewart took all of that and turned it into comedy gold, painting a picture of someone who has burned so many bridges that she probably needs her own personal island just to exist.
Raising some eyebrows, she was accompanying Trump to all sorts of campaign events, and she was also pictured kind of like cozying up to him.
When Loomer denied having any kind of romantic relationship with Trump, Stewart compared it to a kid with chocolate all over their face, swearing they never touched the cake. The kind of denial that just makes people more suspicious. It wasn't just the alleged affair, though. Stewart made sure to remind everyone of the absurdity of Loomer's entire public persona. She's not just another right-wing commentator, she's a professional provocateur, someone who thrives on controversy and plays the victim when things don't go her way. Then came the real kicker, her history as a 9/11 conspiracy theorist. Loomer has spent years pushing the idea that 9/11 was an inside job, the kind of theory that even some of the most extreme voices in politics don't want to be associated with. Yet, despite all that, she was seen attending a 9/11 memorial alongside Trump. Stewart called out the sheer hypocrisy of it, comparing it to a flat earther showing up at a NASA rocket launch. Imagine someone who has spent years claiming space travel is fake, standing front and center at a moon landing event. It's that level of absurd.
This woman is a racist, and she has access to Donald Trump. And the reason he's got racists around him is because Donald Trump is a racist. Right.
If Loomer's views weren't already extreme enough, even Marjorie Taylor Greene, yes, that Marjorie Taylor Greene, thought she had gone too far. And that's saying something. MTG is known for pushing some pretty wild conspiracy theories herself, but even she had to distance herself from Loomer, specifically calling her out for being racist. That alone should have been a moment of self-reflection for Loomer, but of course, it wasn't. Stewart ran with this, pointing out that if Marjorie Taylor Greene is telling you to cool it, you might want to take a step back. He likened it to the Joker telling Batman to relax, because if someone that extreme is telling you you've crossed a line, you're probably sprinting toward the deep end. But instead of realizing that she had lost one of her own allies, Loomer doubled down. She insisted that her comments were just jokes and that people were being too sensitive. Stewart wasn't buying it, though. He made it clear that racism isn't something you can just brush off as humor. It's like a kid scribbling all over the walls with a permanent marker and calling it abstract art. No matter how you spin it, the damage is done, and everyone can see it. Melania Trump has been noticeably missing from Donald Trump's campaign trail, and people are starting to ask questions. In past elections, she made at least a few public appearances, even if she wasn't the most enthusiastic political spouse. But this time, she's practically disappeared. With all the chaos surrounding Trump's campaign, especially the rumors involving Laura Loomer, her silence is only making things more interesting. For someone who was once the First Lady of the United States, Melania has never been one to crave the spotlight. She's always been more private compared to other political wives, and when she does show up, it's usually with a carefully measured presence. There are no speeches, no public endorsements, and no carefully staged photo ops. She hasn't even been spotted at major campaign events, which is unusual even by her low-profile standards. People have been trying to figure out what her silence really means. Some think she's distancing herself from all the drama surrounding Trump's campaign, especially with Loomer constantly making headlines. The idea of Melania quietly removing herself from the situation wouldn't be surprising. She has never been one to engage in public feuds or respond to gossip. Others believe she's simply over it. After years of being in the political spotlight, maybe she just doesn't want to be part of this whole circus anymore. The rumors about Trump and Loomer haven't helped either. With Loomer being seen so frequently with Trump and the internet buzzing about their interactions, people expected Melania to at least acknowledge it. But she hasn't. No public comments, no statements, not even a subtle move to show whether she's bothered. And that silence has only fueled more speculation. If she truly didn't care, wouldn't she just brush it off? If she did care, wouldn't she make a move to shut down the rumors? The fact that she's saying absolutely nothing has left people guessing. There's also the possibility that Melania is simply picking her battles. She's been through this before. Her husband's scandals, affairs, and controversies have played out in public for years. At this point, she might see no benefit in reacting to another one. Whether she's deliberately stepping back to avoid the chaos or just quietly planning her next move, one thing is clear. Melania Trump is staying as far away from this mess as possible. And in a world where everyone is constantly talking, tweeting, and reacting, her silence might just be the loudest statement of all. Donald Trump isn't exactly known for backing down when people tell him he's making a mistake. If anything, he does the opposite just to prove a point. So when Laura Loomer's name started making headlines for all the wrong reasons, and even some of his own allies thought she was becoming a problem, Trump did what he always does. He doubled down. Instead of distancing himself from her, he praised her. Instead of shutting down the controversy, he leaned into it. Despite all the backlash, Trump continues to speak highly of Loomer, calling her a great woman and a free spirit. That kind of endorsement wouldn't raise too many eyebrows if it weren't for the fact that Loomer has been labeled as too extreme even by some within Trump's own movement. She's been banned from nearly every major social media platform, accused of racism and spreading conspiracy theories, and even called out by Marjorie Taylor Greene, who isn't exactly known for drawing a line when it comes to controversial opinions. Some of Trump's campaign staffers are reportedly frustrated by the situation. To them, Loomer is a liability, someone who could turn off voters who might otherwise be on the fence about supporting Trump in 2024. The last thing they need is another distraction, especially one tied to a figure as polarizing as Loomer. But Trump doesn't seem to care. If anything, he enjoys the fact that she upsets people. He's always thrived in chaos, and Loomer's presence is just another piece of that puzzle. This isn't the first time Trump has refused to cut ties with someone controversial, and it probably won't be the last. He values loyalty above all else, and Loomer has been one of his most vocal defenders. That alone is enough for him to keep her close, no matter what people say. His approach to criticism has always been the same: ignore it, mock it, and move forward like nothing happened. Whether this strategy will work in his favor remains to be seen. Some believe that surrounding himself with figures like Loomer could hurt him in the general election, making it harder to win over moderates and independent voters. Others think Trump knows exactly what he's doing, that by refusing to back down, he's keeping his most loyal supporters energized. Either way, one thing is clear. When it comes to Trump and his inner circle, controversy isn't a problem. It's just part of the plan. The whole Trump-Loomer situation might seem like just another round of political drama, but it's actually a lot bigger than that. This isn't just about one far-right activist cozying up to Trump or some wild internet gossip. For starters, it shows how much influence figures like Laura Loomer have in today's political landscape. A few years ago, someone with her level of controversy would have been pushed to the fringes, dismissed as too extreme even for the Republican Party. But instead of keeping his distance, Trump has welcomed her into his orbit. That says a lot about the direction his campaign is heading. The fact that he's openly embracing someone who has been banned from almost every major social media platform, criticized for racist remarks, and even called out by Marjorie Taylor Greene shows that Trump is sticking to his usual playbook, leaning into controversy instead of running from it. But this is causing a split even within Trump's own circle. Some of his allies, including members of his campaign team, are reportedly uncomfortable with Loomer's presence. They see her as a liability, someone who could damage Trump's chances with moderate voters who might be willing to support him again in 2024. Others, especially those on the far right, see her as a fighter, someone who isn't afraid to say things most politicians wouldn't dare say out loud. This divide is only making Trump's campaign more chaotic, with different factions pulling in different directions. At the end of the day, this situation could go one of two ways. On one hand, keeping figures like Loomer close might help Trump solidify his base. His most hardcore supporters love his defiance and the fact that he refuses to back down, no matter how controversial someone is. On the other hand, it could backfire by making it harder for him to win over undecided voters. Many Americans, especially independents, might see this as another sign that Trump is too wrapped up in the most extreme corners of his movement. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.